waifus, trade fights for better views. We both need something new. Maybe we should just tell them.
Hello, high-minded readers, and welcome to the Books and the Bees podcast. Just like bees play a crucial role in pollinating flowers and sustaining life, books pollinate minds and nurture the soul. We see the connection between the two, the delicate dance of ideas and stories that enrich our lives.
I'm Cody.
I'm Hailey.
Welcome to our podcast.
Welcome.
Hello. Hailey.
What up, Cody?
What up? It is Sunday.
It is Sunday. It's Mother's Day.
Which is weird for us. Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, happy Mother's
to all
Day.
the mothers out there.
All the mothers. Yeah. All the mamas.
All the moms. The pet moms.
Yeah.
The regular moms. The grandmoms.
The
great grandmoms.
Yeah, the adopted moms. The moms.
Yeah.
That just are moms.
Yeah. Is it, how's the weather over there?
It's been so nice lately. Like
Oh, good.
Yesterday. And then also Friday, it was like 70s and like borderline like too hot, to be completely honest, but especially for really? Springtime. Yeah, we don't have AC in our house right now. So we need to go pick some up, but yeah. So
do you have to do warm. Like the units or whatever?
Yeah, we have to. I kind of want to get one of the like really fancy ones though from like Costco, the like standing ones.
Oh yeah, those are nice.
Yeah, they're really nice and they kind of kick ass. So,
yeah,
I really want to do that. That's the plan, Stan. Yeah, how's it been where you're at? What's your weather like?
Oh, I'm looking outside my window right now. It's been nice. Probably like 70s all this last week. And we had some rain the other day. We're supposed to get rain for the rest of the week, I think. So, but it's not too bad, honestly. It's kind of nice. We were also a little hot. I think we were in like the mid 80s for a while. And with the humidity being 60%, it's not something that I'm used to.
That'll do it.
Yep, that'll do it. But yeah, everything is really green, and we finally got all of our stuff planted. So we have a bunch of crops planted.
Hell yeah.
All our herbs and all that stuff. We finished it up yesterday. So just excited. And we got patio furniture that is arriving tomorrow.
Yay.
So we'll be officially able to sit outside on the patio.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Which I'm really excited for. Yeah.
There's nothing like a good patio area to sit at.
Yeah, and we have a bird feeder that I'm obsessed with right now.
Oh, that's cool. I'm
actually watching a bird eating out of it at the moment. I don't know what it is, but it's a pretty bird.
I was just going to ask what kind of bird, but never mind.
I think it's a female brown-headed cowbird.
Sure.
But it's hard to tell.
I'll pretend like I know what that looks like.
They're kind of weird looking. But we get a lot of cardinals. We have a lot of house finches.
Pretty birds.
We're supposed to have blue jays, but I haven't seen a blue jay go to our feeder yet. So
yeah,
we'll see.
I think we had some blue jays too. We had like what are they? The red-tailed hawks? Is that what they are? They're like they're like hawks, but they're not like massive boys. They're just kind of like, I don't know. I feel like they're on the smaller side. At least the one that I saw, they like straight up would sit on the fence and just look into our window. I was like, hello.
Yeah. That's probably was a red-tailed hawk, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're frequent for attacking birds at bird feeders.
Well, there's tons of bird feeders and squirrel feeders on my neighbor's had, so. Yeah.
Hey, hawks got to eat too.
Yeah. Food chain. Circle of life.
Food chain. Circle of life. Yep. Yep. So yeah, it's nice. I'm so excited to spend more time outside and read, and it's perfect reading weather.
Yes.
Really fun spring.
Yeah, I agree. And our farmers market started last weekend, so
nice.
Yes, I know. So it's officially farmers market season, which is my favorite.
Let's go.
My favorite season.
That's where we bought all our plants, was the local farmers market.
Brilliant.
Yep. Except for cucumbers. For some reason, they didn't have cucumbers. So I actually had to go to Whole Foods to return an Amazon purchase, and they had cucumbers there, so I bought them there. And, starters. So
did you get regular cucumbers or English cucumbers?
I got the regulars, I think. I just grabbed them and bought them. I don't actually know what they are.
Surprise cucumbers.
Surprise cucumbers. We also have a surprise squash plant because someone at work put out these squash plants, and they're like, we don't know what these are, but feel free to take them. And so I took one and planted it. We'll see what happens. But
hell yeah. Surprise garden.
Surprise garden, yep. And tomatoes. We got tomatoes and a crap ton of herbs. We're actually going to use basil for the first time from our herb thing today. So I'm really excited for that.
We love some fresh basil.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Man, that sounds like fun.
Yep. I love spring. Love spring.
Yes. Best time.
Best time. Well, do you know what the best time is also?
What?
The time we spend reading the books that we're going to talk about right now. I'm officially out of my book slump.
Yay!
I'm officially out of my book slump.
I see that.
Yeah, and I know you are too, so I'm really excited.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to start with yours?
Sure, yeah. So
okay.
TikTok's just been plugging it. I don't know what...
Let's go.
Like what luck I stumbled upon in the TikTok algorithm, but my FYP has been on one. In a good way. Yeah. So this book that I'm reading, actually I finished it and now I'm in the second book of the series. I think I'm actually almost done with the second book of the series. I think I'm like 68% done, I think, on my Kindle. But anyways, and they're free, which even better. So even better. I know. The first book that I'll talk about, it was on, and I've been seeing these like trends on TikTok where they're like, give me like your most unhinged blah in the comments. And this particular one was like, give me your most unhinged, like spicy romance books that like makes you like question yourself. And a lot of the recommendations in the comments were very tame, very vanilla. And I was like, y'all, I feel like a criminal reading these comments.
So did you post your spiciest book?
I didn't, but I went deep dived because there was one where this gal was like explaining a scene in one of these books, but they like didn't say what the title was or the author or nothing. They just like did the scene, and I was like, well, that's not helpful. So I was like 20 comments deep trying to figure out like what this book was called. Turns out, spoilers, it's called Sovereign, or the series is like the Sovereign Mountain series. And I think the first book is called Sovereign by Raya.
Is this the book you told me about?
Yeah, did I? Yeah, the cowboy one.
Well, yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's by Raya Morris Edwards. The author has a absolute stack on Goodreads of books, which I freaking love, and I really like the author's writing style. And I don't know their pronouns, that's why I'm saying the author. So, I don't want to be rude. But yeah, Sovereign by Raya Morris Edwards, or Raya Morris Edwards. My apologies if I'm saying that correctly. The first book was, also it's a cowboy romance, but like in the most chef's kiss, delicious, diabolical way. I have never watched Yellowstone. I've only heard about Yellowstone through other people, and like my parents watch it, all this fun stuff. But like this book reads how I imagined the like tone of Yellowstone feels.
Okay.
It's got like how dare you touch her vibes, male main character. It's got like kind of not enemies to lovers, but like she like knows he's trouble and knows she shouldn't be with him, but like is still with him because she's morally gray. The whole book is just one giant gray storm cloud of morals. But yeah, so awesome. Male main character, he's a cowboy. I'll set the scene. Kind of spoilery. Sorry if it is, but it's a really good book. I definitely recommend reading it. And it has the warnings and stuff in the beginning of the book. So if you have any of that, just make sure to read those warnings. Because it is like definitely 5 out of 5 on the spicy scale for sure.
Okay.
So male main character comes over to do some cattle ranch business with the female main character's husband. They see each other, love at first sight, or steam at first sight. I don't know. Like, he's like, hey, yo, I like this chick. And then she's like, I should not be looking at another man. I am married. Turns out her husband's a freaking deadbeat and an asshole. So, like, it's fine. Yeah. So, yeah, male main character takes her husband out on a cattle drive, and some things happen, and then some other stuff and things happen, because I don't want to spoil the rest of the book. And
dang.
Then spicy times ensue, and there's horses, there's what else is there? There's horses. It's set in Montana, which is a first book setting for me, I think. The other Western romances that I've read thus far, which aren't a lot, but they're either in like Wyoming or I think it's just been Wyoming, actually, the ones that I've read. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, that's that book. And then there's a second one, the one that I'm reading now. And this book was actually the book that was described in the comments section, the scene. Super spoiler, I can't say what happens, because even it makes me blush. I'm like, oh, well, that was quite interesting. But his name's Weston. Oh, and the first guy's name is Gerard or some bullshit, but he goes by Sovereign, and I'm like, yes, thank you so much, because the first name was not hidden. But second book is, I think, called Weston, also in the Sovereign series, and he falls in love with a cowboy's sister, and she gets like married off and is miserable, and he goes and saves her, and they live probably happily ever after. I haven't finished the book yet, so hard to say what else happens. Dang. But yeah, and there's lots of like underhanded like dealings, and like who owns the judge, who owns the bank, who, you know, like that sort of shit. So it's good. Yeah, I'm really happy that I found this series. It's great.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah. Sounds like a good series.
Yeah, 10 out of 10. Would recommend.
Yeah, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Way to go TikTok.
Hell yeah.
Way to go book talk.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about your books, Cody.
Well, like I said, I'm out of my reading slump.
Ooh.
So I finished 2 books since we recorded last, and I wanted to talk about both. One of them I kind of mentioned really briefly. The other one was in our anticipated reads for this year, so I'm excited to talk about it. And then the third I'm reading now. The first one is called Mickey 7 by Edward Ashton, and a lot of you have probably seen the movie preview that has Robert Pattinson in it. It's called Mickey 17, I think is what the movie's called, but the book is called Mickey 7. And it's about this guy who is called an expendable on this ship that traveled to a planet that they're trying to prepare to colonize for other humans and make a livable situation. He's an expendable because he gets put into really dangerous positions that are necessary but are dangerous, and oftentimes he dies. And when he dies, he just gets cloned into a new person.
Oh, wow.
Into a new version of himself. And so when the book starts, he is the 7th iteration of Mickey. And at the very first chapter of the book, he is in a situation where he's going to die, but ends up not dying. And it turns out when he gets back to base, somebody has already cloned the new version of him called Mickey 8. And now they have to figure out what they're going to do. So it's a really great book. Honestly, I could not put it down. I think I read it in about 24 hours. It was just one of those fast-paced sci-fi books. Really, really good. And it talks a lot about immortality and a lot about what does it mean to be a new person? Like, is Mickey 7 the same as the original Mickey, even though it's a new body, but he has all the same memories and everything that's happened he remembers. Like, is that still the same Mickey, or is it a different Mickey? Are the two Mickeys currently existing the same Mickey, or are they different? So it talks about that a lot, which was really, really cool. It also talks about classism a little bit, because expendables are usually people who are from a poorer status that have no choice but to sign up for it, because obviously it sounds like a terrible job, because these people die in terrible situations. Even though they come back to life, maybe, if you think about it that way, but they're still, basically dying all the time, which sounds horrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really good. I highly recommend it. There's a sequel that I'm also going to read. I put it on my Libby hold, and it should be coming in pretty soon, so I'm really excited to read it. But yeah, it was a great book. I loved it.
Hell yeah.
The second book is also a sci-fi, and it's not as serious as Mickey 7, but it's also really interesting in how it traveled as well. It's called When the Moon Hits Your Eye by John Scalzi, who is an author that I love. He wrote Starter Villain last year, the year before, which was a great book. They had the cat on the cover. I think, Hailey, I showed it to you when we were reading it.
Yes.
It was really, really good. This one is about when the moon turns into cheese randomly. And basically what happens after the moon turns to cheese. And it sounds like a pretty weird book, but I have to say it was written really well. It's basically a loose connection of stories that overlap in some way, but it's not like it's the same character for the whole book. It's like a collection of characters throughout the whole book, and each chapter kind of conveys a different thing. So it was really interesting to read from that perspective, and there's a lot of commentary on classism and all this stuff. There's one chapter where this rich billionaire is demanding to get a piece of the moon cheese so that he can be the first one to try it on a grilled cheese sandwich. Stuff like that. It was really, really interesting. And it was awesome. It was a really good book. John Scalzi is a great sci-fi author. He's been doing stuff for years, and I haven't read all of his books, but I've read a pretty big collection, and they're really good. So if this sounds like a weird book, I would say give it a shot, because it's really funny, and I liked it a lot.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And then the last book is one that I won't talk a lot about because it's a sequel, but it's the sequel to Iron Widow, which I talked about a couple weeks ago.
Shit, yeah.
This one is called Heavenly Tyrant, and I loved Iron Widow. Heavenly Tyrant is the direct sequel to Iron Widow. It is, it picks up right where the first book takes off. It's not as action-packed as the first book was, but it is very politically motivated, politically charged. And it's really good. It's a little bit bigger. It's like 450 pages, I want to say. So it's kind of beefy, but I am enjoying it. I'm probably 70% of the way through it. And it's been a great book. Yeah, I'm really, really liking it.
Dang. All those you're reading like some really good books. Or have read.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Books. Yeah.
It's been really fun. I'm glad to be back in reading after kind of been like not super into it lately.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, and then you pull a freaking three-peat and just,
pull a three-peat. Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm reading the title, the When the Moon Hits Your Eye, and my brain is immediately going to that Amore song.
Yeah, I know. It's hard. That song was stuck in my head the whole time I was reading the book.
I love that.
In fact, I even listened to it to try to like get it out of my head.
That's hysterical.
Because I can't even tell you the last time I listened to that song, but yeah, it's like it just comes straight out of your brain when you read the title.
Facts.
So yeah.
Hell yeah.
Well, as always, we're reading some banger books. Even though lately we've both been in a reading slump, I'm glad that we're both out of it and reading some awesome content. So
yeah, samesies. I don't think I could have lasted any longer in that freaking book slump. I was going crazy.
Yeah. Me too. I did want to talk about, so when I was reading Mickey 7, they were talking about a book that's called The Ship of Theseus, which is like a classical book. And I haven't read it, but it's kind of about the same thing. Like if you rebuild a ship from, replace every part of the ship. Is it still considered the same ship? Same kind of bend.
Yeah.
And that reminded me that I've talked about this book before. In fact, I think I talked about it when we were talking about books that we were intimidated to read. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to bring this out because this is the Ship of Theseus book, but this is co-opted by J.J. Abrams. And the story is actually told, it's the actual story of the Ship of Theseus, but it's also told with a separate story inside of these margins of the actual book.
That's right. I remember you talking about this.
Yeah, it's so cool. And each, there's different colored ink, so each colored ink is a different person. And it kind of goes back and forth between this one guy who's writing his dissertation and a girl who found the book, and they're communicating in the margins. And then there's a few other people that kind of throw in commentary. And then there's these little pieces. So throughout the whole book, there's extra little things where they try to piece together what happens in the story. And the author's very mysterious because he only published this one book and no one knows who he actually is or what he did or anything like that. So the whole outside portion of the story revolves around that. And so I was kind of inspired to dig it out of my boxes and give it a try. So I think here in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to try to tackle this bad boy and see what happens.
Oh yeah. That's so cool. And honestly, what a good philosophical question to ask every once in a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think? Just given the thesis, what?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't. Because our bodies replace every cell roughly every 7 years, except for neurons, I guess. Neurons are kind of different, but so we do kind of become a different person.
Regenerate.
Regenerate, yeah. So I feel like I'm the same person. I feel like I've been the same person my whole life. So I would tend to say that if you clone somebody, they take up the memory that you lost, then I would say, yeah, they're the same person. But it's kind of, I don't know. I could see both sides of the story, honestly.
Yeah. Interesting.
What about you?
I don't know. My immediate thought would say no, that it's not the same, because our body stores trauma. So it makes me wonder, because your memory, you're a new person every time, but your memory is still your memory, would your body be storing that same trauma as if it's been relived every single time that you've, you know what I mean? Or would it, because you're in a new body but you still have your brain, would it be stored the same way physiologically, right? So that's a really interesting concept for my brain to ponder over. I'm sure I will be thinking about that later tonight when I can't sleep.
Yeah, it is one of those deep philosophical questions that kind of is unsettling, but
it is
interesting to think about.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, okay, think about it this way. In terms of a machine, you get a new car, but you put the same engine in it. Is that still the same car? No.
Yes. Oh. See? We differ. It's interesting.
Because, I'll just say my thought process behind it. But because the body part of the car, right, you have brand new steering, brand new wheels, brand new, none of your outward body is the same, but the engine, I mean, yeah, sure, the engine's the same. It might affect the car and the way it runs and the way that it, operates. But
so you're saying you take the engine out and put it into a new car, and is that new car the same?
Yeah. No.
Okay. I thought you said if you replace the engine, is that the same?
No. Different body, right? Because it's a new
different body.
It's a new body, different same mind.
Yeah.
Interesting. The thought process of the brain being an engine, which I don't know if that's necessarily same, but that's what
Close
my brain
enough,
thinks.
probably.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good. I don't know.
Yeah.
That is. What is it? The exact same model? Everything's the same. It's just a brand new body.
Yeah, same model, same model, just different. Same model, same make, but it doesn't have the wear and tear on the tires. It doesn't have the mileage on the axle. It doesn't have the maybe the oil doesn't need. Well, I guess that's different because the engine's the same, but I don't know enough about cars to use that as a good enough example, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I see your point. Yeah. But then the question goes, if you get that, let's say you do have a car, and you slowly replace every piece of it, like you replace the tires, you replace the paint job, and you replace the parts of the engine to make it keep running, blah blah blah, all the light bulbs, everything like that. Is that still the same car at the end of the day?
No.
I don't know. You say no.
I still say no, because like, technically those are all new parts.
Yeah,
brand new. They're
true.
Brand new parts.
That is true.
They're not the same.
I would say yes, that it is the same car, but I think it has to do with, like, even though you change one part, all those parts cohesively go through an experience together.
Fair enough.
But I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I think it's just I think it's just interesting how you think about it compared to other people. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. It was a great book, honestly, and I'm excited to watch the movie. And I'm excited to check out this weird thought process by J.J. Abrams. I think that's going to be good too. Yeah. So I'm excited to give it a shot.
Yeah, honestly, having little stories of other people and their thought process behind something while reading a story sounds really fascinating and fun to me. But
yeah, I'm definitely going to read it after June, because I have a bunch of stuff happening for work right now, so I don't have the brain process to deal with this. But definitely after June, the first week of June, I will probably spend some time tackling it. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Cool. So should we jump into beekeeping?
Yeah.
Cool. I have one beekeeping item that we didn't talk about this before, but I think you've probably seen this, and I just wanted to mention it briefly. Did you hear about the fantasy themed book ball that happened in, I believe it was Baltimore?
Perhaps. Was it the one, and spoilers, that like was a horrible mess?
Yes. And basically no one showed up to it.
Yes.
I
did.
I wanted to talk about it. It's called A Million Lives, and it was marketed as a convention for authors and enjoyers of romantasy, which of course is an extremely popular book genre. And it was told there was going to be a lot of people that came, and I think they were told like a few hundred people would be showing up, like a pretty sizable amount of people would be showing up. And people who paid ranged from $50 to $250. Wow. And there was a cosplay competition and a ball one evening. And on TikTok and Book Talk, what made this thing go viral was that basically no one showed up. The things that were there were like really poorly constructed tables, and the DJ was Spotify through one of those like portable speakers. And basically it turned out to be nothing.
Yep.
And I believe the people have gotten their money reimbursed, so I think that's a good thing. But it turned into a complete failure and a huge disappointment. A lot of authors were upset because they, took time out of their busy lives to try to sell books at this event, and a lot of people that were going to try to connect with other people who loved romantasy didn't get to do that. So it was pretty sad to see, honestly.
Yeah, I follow quite a bit of content creators that frequent and make their content kind of solely based off of those like bookish fantasy, like ball gala type gatherings, and that was pretty it was sad, but also like really funny to me, because it was so like, I mean, I know that this happens in like all the time, right? Where like you go and you like spend all this money, and they hype it up. They're like, oh, it's gonna be all these things, and and the marketing's great, and then you get to like the actual event, and then it's just like smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And also I didn't.
It's very similar to the Willy Wonka thing that happened a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes.
It was very much like that, or like the Firefly. Whatever that was, party, whatever.
Yes. Yeah. So it was sad though, like seeing people who got who have that as their main I don't know, excitement in their life, I guess, who like got all dressed up and like do the whole damn thing, and then they get there and it's just like a gymnasium.
Yeah, it was pretty awful.
Yeah.
Like,
oh gosh,
yeah, I can't imagine being somebody who spent, and I think you had to pay extra money to go to the ball. And, like, that seemed like the worst part. Was like just nobody was there.
Yeah,
I think 15 people were in the videos that I saw.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I hope that they at the very least, right? Like when life gives you lemons, right? Like make the best out of it. So
Yeah.
I hope that they at least, I don't know, danced and had fun.
Yeah. Maybe they made friends. I'm sure you could make friends with every single person that went to that event and stay in touch.
Exactly.
So hopefully that happened.
Oh man.
Yeah. Do you have any beekeeping, Hailey?
No, I don't.
That's fine. I just pulled this up on the spot, so I think that works.
Yeah. Oh, it does.
Yeah. Cool. So are you ready to jump into our main event?
Yes, let's get into it.
So for the month of May, we have a co-read, which is Bloodchild by Octavia Butler. We've been hyping it up for the last few weeks. Hailey and I have both read it.
Yep.
In its completion. It's very short.
Very.
It's like 30 pages, I want to say.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like, depending on the version you got, if there's like a preface and an afterword, I think it was total like 35, because both of those were like 2-ish pages.
Yeah.
So it took me like half an hour to finish, start and finish. I did it in one sitting. And we're not going to get spoilery on it this week. Is that right?
Right.
Okay. So we're just going to give our overall thoughts.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to talk about it because I love Octavia Butler, and I thought this was a really great story.
Yeah, it was interesting. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, how did this feel being, like, this is your first sci-fi story in a long time?
Well, in a really long... I used to be a very big sci-fi nerd. I used to read things like Host and... I'd even classify, this is taking it way back, but like the Uglies and the Pretties and like that series, I believe is like very sci-fi-esque. I'm trying to remember the other ones. I don't know if Hunger Games is considered sci-fi or if it's more dystopian. I don't know, but
I don't know. I kind of lump dystopian in with sci-fi and horror. So like,
okay.
I would say,
yeah.
I would say it's sci-fi.
So yeah, I used to read like all that sort of genre when I was younger, and then I kind of stopped as I got older because I, like, as a rule of thumb in any media or things that I consume, I do not like real world things being reflected back to me in the like media that I consume to seek joy and alleviate that thing. So
yeah. That's fair.
Yeah, that's usually why, because I think it's a great genre. Like, I think there's a lot of well-written worlds and books, and just, like, I love the imagination of it all. But, no, this, all that to say, it wasn't necessarily my first sci-fi, but it definitely was different. Definitely not what I was expecting at all, in any capacity. Like, even based off of the description, I guess I just wasn't like, it gave me like Alien versus Predator vibes when I was reading it. Like, that's
I remember you saying that when we talked about it.
Yeah, that's literally like what it gave me. And as I was reading it, and I don't want to like say too much because I don't want to spoil the whole thing. But there was some parts where I was like so like viscerally grossed out. I was like, I was like, okay, is it over yet? Because you know, and I was really trying to understand the, like, as I was reading it, I was really trying to understand the psychology of it all, like where Octavia Butler's brain was as she was writing it. You know what I mean? Because I was trying to find like the deeper meaning, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So that really, I think that if I hadn't had gone into it with that mindset, I probably would have gotten through it and not thought it was so weird, but like I really was just, I think, reading too much into it and like what the themes were, like the underlying themes of it all were. So
I also I mean, that's what I like about sci-fi is I like to think about what happens when shit goes wrong, or like, you know, what's the let's reverse the roles and have humans be subservient to some sort of alien species, which is kind of the theme of this book, without getting spoilery. And it really did feel a lot like her trilogy, the Dawn trilogy, which I've talked about before on the show. And if you read her afterwards, she talks about it a little bit, and I don't want to get spoiler on that either, but I can definitely see connections between this story and those trilogies. Not that they're the same universe or anything like that, but that they're the same like style of what's happening, and like the themes are there. I actually didn't pick up on the themes that she was trying to convey in the afterward. I kind of thought it was something else. And I'm excited to talk about it and when we talk about spoilers, because I actually feel like she brings it up in the afterward, but I really feel like the story is about something that she didn't think it was about.
Yeah.
But it was a really wild adventure. It's definitely normal for her in this particular style, I would say, to write a book like this. It was pretty disturbing. It actually felt more like a horror story than it did like a sci-fi story.
Yeah.
And she does have history with that. She wrote she wrote Fledgling, which is, I think, categorized as horror fully. And I would say The Parable of the Talents kind of reads as a horror novel as well in a lot of ways. Or The Parable of the Sower and The Parable of the Talents. They both kind of read like that. So I wouldn't say it's out of content for her, but it was interesting. I was obsessed with it as I was reading it. It was hard for me to put down. I was completely immersed into the story. And I read it, like I said, in one sitting pretty quickly. It was great. I'm definitely going to read the other stories in this collection too, even though it's not a part of our co-read, but I'm excited to see what other short story content she writes, because in the preface, she mentions that she's not somebody who likes short stories. She doesn't like to write them. She doesn't like to read them. But the short story that she wrote was really good, and I liked it a lot.
Yeah, and I didn't read the preface. I read a smidge of the after whatever. And when I was reading it, I for some reason my brain was like, oh, maybe it's like a summary of the story, or like, you know what I mean? Like, to just, you know how like sometimes afterwards in like regular novels, the author will kind of be like, this is why I was writing this, blah, 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 and like these characters, and I was writing, and I don't want to be spoilery, but the thing that she mentions, like what you said, I totally agree, because that's not where my brain went when I was reading it. That was not a theme I was going through my head. As I was like, oh, she was trying to portray that. Huh, interesting. But after I read it, I was like, oh, I could see where she was trying to convey those things. But yeah, and my brain, like, because I'm such a hyper fantasia or whatever it's called type person, where my brain like plays movies, I think that's why it was so Alien versus Predator to me. Because like all I could think of was like the things that she describes, the like alien race or whatever. My brain could not get past that for some reason. It was like all that it could focus on was trying to figure out what exactly these things look like. As I was reading.
And it was kind of, the descriptions were a little vague. It was kind of hard for me to picture like the scene as it was going, the scenes as they were going. But yeah, there were like really two moments in the story that I was like repulsed. Yeah. And we could talk about those when we get spoilery, but yeah, it was just weird, honestly. But I really liked it. It was definitely something that I'll think about. It's definitely a book I'll think about. And I've read other books that have a similar theme to this that I also tend to think about on a semi-regular basis. So I think I'll kind of lump this into those books, and it'll be one of those things that I contemplate every once in a while when my brain travels there for whatever reason.
Yeah. I definitely was trying to also like piece together the family dynamic aspect of it too. For the human piece. Because that was interesting. Yeah. That was interesting. And like I told you off pod, obviously, that like I almost wish like that it had continued, because I wanted like the characters, I wanted to get to know more, like I wanted to know one of their, like, the main, well, I don't know what she was considered, but one of the main characters, I guess she was considered a main character, her backstory. Like, I wanted to know, like, more about her and, like, her struggle and, like, what was going on with her, because I feel like a majority of the story, it was like we were getting snippets, and I was like, no, I don't like these snippets, I need more. Like, give me more detail, please. And maybe that's why, like, I couldn't focus that well with it either, because I was, like, too busy just in my head trying to like, overanalyze it, which is so silly, because usually I don't do that with books.
But I mean, with short stories, you're only given so many pages to do something.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I like about short stories is you have whatever, you know, I don't know what the official max word limit is or page limit is for short stories, but you have a limited amount of time to get the reader's attention and to make them interested in the story, and then make them feel some sort of resolution. And I felt like there was resolution, but you're right. I was also kind of curious on what's happening with the alien and their backstory, and the family dynamic in this particular story is really unique. And I was kind of curious on how that happened and how the whole situation came to this way in the first place. I thought was really something that I would have loved, but you know, I kind of like that with short stories. I like getting introduced to it and then having that particular conflict get resolved and then leaving, you know, like, oh, this is just, I'm allowed to fill in these blanks kind of myself a little bit. And it's a little unsettling, but that's what I kind of like about short stories, is that they take you on this really crazy roller coaster and you just have to get off right when it's done.
No, I can't. My brain, I think that's something that maybe I didn't realize about myself until just now, where I'm like, no, I have to have the happily ever after. I have to have everything wrapped up in a neat little bow at the very end of the story, and I have to know all the characters and what happened. Yeah.
I wonder if, because I was thinking, because we put short stories on our reading challenge this year, and I was like, I'm going to look for romance short stories, and they just don't exist. No. Really. I mean, there are definitely like short books that I would say are defined for a specific purpose that maybe we don't have to get into. But they're not like the particular romance stories. And I think it's because people who enjoy romance books like to have the full thing fleshed out and like to have the happy ending, and you just can't do that in 20 pages, you know, and make it interesting. Of course you can talk about like romance really quickly, but it's not going to be something that's like really compelling. So I think maybe that's why.
Yeah, I think you make a good point. I think that's a really valid point, because I don't think I've ever read, I think I've read maybe one, but I don't think it was a short story considered a short story. I think it was just a shorter romance novel. But it's still very much, and I didn't like it because, well, no, I liked it. It was very good, but I needed more. And that I didn't like, because I was like, no, I like, what do you mean this is it? What do you mean, like, what do you mean there's not a second book or another chapter, you know, where you get to like delve into stuff, which I don't know. I find it really interesting, and maybe I'll read one of her full stories, because that might give me a better taste of what her writing is like. Because this one I was like, man, like, do I like her or do I not? It's like, do I like Octavia Butler? Because like, in theory her books sound really good and enticing, and like I would enjoy them, but this book was like, oh, like I was like, I need more.
I think the Dawn trilogy really is fleshing out kind of some of the themes with this. So I feel like the Dawn trilogy is an actual natural extension of this type of story. But they're also really different in a lot of ways. And it's not like a direct trilogy. It's, the first book is about Dawn, and you really kind of learn about what's happening, kind of how this world got created the way it did. And then the next book is, I think, one of her children, and like it's the main story of her children, and she's like a accessory character. but it kind of continues it in that trajectory. And then the third is even further displaced, where it's like even a further along ancestor, like not even a grandchild. I think it's like a, you know, like a great aunt or something, you know, whatever. Yeah, great descendant. And so it's like really weird how that trilogy kind of conveys, but I really liked them all in their own right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
I've read a good amount of her books. I'm kind of slowly working my way through them because she's passed. We've talked about her. Mm-hmm. She passed in, I think, 2006 or maybe 2008. And so, you know, all the stuff that's out there is what is out there. I'm never going to get another Octavia Butler book that's new. So yes. I'm kind of like slowly working my way through them so that I don't just read them all and then not have anything left. Yeah. So
savoring.
Savoring, yeah. And that's something that I do with a lot of authors that I love is like Grady Hendrix, who I've talked about recently. I love him as an author too. And even though he's still alive and still publishing books, I tend to not read his backlog unless I really feel like I need one.
Yeah.
Because I like to have that repertoire of like 5 or 6 books that I can just go to whenever I need them. Versus me waiting for him to publish his new book and getting frustrated when it's not out yet.
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
Yeah.
It's so funny how different we are in that aspect where like I'm like, I found an author that I really like. Let me read their whole entire catalog of books immediately.
Yeah, I used to be that way. I mean, I've talked about this before, but there was a period in my life when I read nothing but Stephen King, and I was like, I'm going to get through every single book in his backlog. I'm going to read everything he's ever written.
Yeah.
And I did that for a really long time, and he has such a huge backlog that I got to the point where I had like 5 or 6 books left, and then I kind of dipped away from him a little bit. Now I haven't read any of his new stuff in probably the last 5-6 years. But you know, he's going to die soon at some point.
Yeah. And, isn't he in his 70s?
I think he's like in his late 70s, like almost 80.
Wow.
So, you know, I want to have that backlog, and I've actually gone back and reread some of his books. And I kind of enjoy that too, but yeah, it's different for me. I like to linger in the author and not run out of books, because then I get really depressed when there's nothing new left.
That's fair.
I do that with TV shows too. You know, I don't think I've talked about this on the show, but this is related. Do you remember Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Oh, of course.
Like the OG.
Yeah.
Classic,
yes.
Right? I never finished it until recently, like 4 years ago during COVID. I like left the last season as it was, you know, I used to watch it when it was coming out, and then I just kind of stopped. And I think it's because I loved it so much, I didn't want it to end. And so I never finished the last season until recently. And when I did, I was like so depressed that I'll never get this content again. Even though they've done like spin-offs and remakes and whatever, like it's not the same as the original show. And I'll never get that emotion again with that show. You know, it's completely, I've already seen it, so it's never going to be the same. But yeah,
that's
still good. I'm glad I finished it, but yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I loved that series. I watched it and I rewatched, like there was a time where I think in college we would rewatch it on like the we have nothing left to watch, let's just rewatch something days.
Yeah.
And and we tried watching the second like spin-off series or whatever, and I'm not a fan. Not because she's not a kick-ass character and all, but because some of the characters like genuinely annoyed me. That I was like, I like couldn't watch the rest of the series because I was so annoyed at like, I don't like characters.
I didn't like the setting.
Yeah, I don't like characters.
The old timey radio, like industrial age.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like watching characters, that are, they're like the foil characters where they're like made to be idiots because like we need that in order to like progress the story along. I freaking hate characters like that. They drive me crazy. No, I do not like characters that like ruin stuff on purpose, but because of their character flaws. No, I totally probably need to unpack that therapy, but it irritates me. That's why it was really hard for me to watch like The Office at first, because Michael Scott makes me want to like, I loathe his character. I feel like you like grow to love him a little bit like as the story progresses because of the other characters that keep him like not so annoying.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's something about those characters that just drives me crazy.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you mentioned that because with The Office, I was listening, I think this was the Office Ladies podcast, which is Jenna Fisher and Angela Kinsey. When they were going through the first couple of seasons on their show, they talked about this because Ricky Gervais, who he was the original, I forget what his character was named in the UK Office, but he was like the boss, the Michael Scott.
Yes.
And he was brought on to advise, I think, the first season of the show.
Yeah.
And he said, like, the one thing that Americans need is they need this character to be redeemable in some quality. Like, he can be a complete idiot, asshole boss, but at the end of an episode, he needs to also have, like, show that he's good at sales, or that he has humility, or that he loves his like, coworkers.
Yeah.
And I really feel that they conveyed that much better in the later seasons, but like at the end of every episode, you'll see that Michael Scott does one like redeeming quality thing that's just enough to not make you completely hate him, because I think he's right. I think we would have not felt it, because he's such a terrible like boss in so many ways.
So
but you grow to love him and how stupid he is. Like, he's stupid because he loves his people so much. That's kind of like what you end up learning from him. And yeah, it was interesting to see that perspective. And I feel that with a lot of characters too. Like, sometimes we don't get that character that has a redeemable quality and we just shut down from it.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. That's so funny. I was rewatching, I did a lot of rewatches of movies this weekend. Step Up. I watched Coyote Ugly. Rewatched that.
Oh shit, that's a great movie.
10 Things I Hate About You. Good.
Oh,
good movie.
Another good
with
one.
freaking what is his name? I forget his name. The actor that was the Joker, and he died, and what is his name? I can't think of his name.
I don't know.
Oh, that's gonna drive me crazy. I'll look it up.
I don't know. I might be confusing this movie with. There's like 3 rom-com
Heath Ledger.
movies that. Oh, Heath Ledger's in that movie? Oh yeah, he is. You're right. Okay, I was confusing it. I was thinking of the movie with Gerard Butler, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Also very good.
Yeah, but like, there's like 3 of those movies that all have 10 in them,
Yes.
and I get confused by all of them.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days is also very good. 10 Things I Hate About You.
It is.
1990s has Julia Stiles, Heath Ledger,
Yes.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, love him. Also, David Krumholtz, who is in one of my favorite Criminal Minds-esque type series, which is Numbers.
Oh yeah, Numbers is good. I like Numbers when it came out.
Love that show. Yeah, just good shit all around.
Good stuff. Well, so that's Bloodchild, even though we got off on a little bit of a tangent.
Listen.
So
There's one thing about us.
We always do.
We'll
we always get off on the tangent. Yeah. So we are not going to do the spoiler version of Bloodchild today. We're going to do that in a couple weeks. So you still have time to read it. It's very easy to read. It is honestly 30 pages. If you don't want to read the preface in afterward, you don't have to. 30 pages. It'll take you half an hour probably. So go get it. It's very accessible. It's really cheap on Kindle. That's how I ended up getting it. But I know libraries have it. It's been around for a while, so I'm sure it's readily available.
Yeah, I think it was like $7 on my iBooks.
Yeah, I think that's what it was for me too. Yeah. So yeah, go check it out. We'll talk about it more officially in a couple weeks, but we just wanted to give like a primer to it. So looking forward to talking about it more thoroughly.
Hell yeah. Me too.
Hell yeah. And if you want to share your thoughts on Bloodchild, you can do that by emailing us, booksandbeespod@gmail.com. You can Instagram us at booksandthebeespod. We'd love to get your feedback. We are going to do a co-read every month. Keep that in mind. I have a couple books that I'm contemplating for next month's co-read, so stay tuned. We might announce it next week, depending on if I talk to Hailey soon enough and make sure she's also okay with it. But I have 2 books. I think I think I've decided which one of the two I want, but I'll probably mention both to you and we'll see.
Hell yeah.
But they will be Pride themed. Both of them are going to be Pride because June is Pride month, and I want to do a Pride co-read. So we'll definitely do that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And if you like us, you can give us a review on your podcast listening app. Whatever you use, it's really helpful. It helps us grow more listeners and grow the hive mind. So please, please, please give us a 5-star review. If you're on YouTube, like our videos, comment on our videos if you want to. We do have access to the comments so we can see what you're talking about. And we appreciate all of our listeners. And thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, thank you. And
thank you, the American Indie, for the use of their song Rendezvous. I'm sure they're listening right now, so I want to thank them specifically. Thank you so much, Rendezvous, for using your song for our intro and outro. As always, you can find their link to Spotify in our show notes.
Hell yeah.
Yep. All right. Is that it? Are we good? Okay. Well, we hope you enjoyed this literary journey as much as we did. If you're buzzing with excitement, don't forget to subscribe, email us, and leave a hi-fi worthy review on your podcast listening app. Until next time, happy reading, and may your shelves be filled with tales as enchanting as a blooming garden. Keep the buzz alive, and we'll catch you in the next chapter. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.